One rule we learned last week that's going to be a really big rule. Remember we watched that music video that was really awesome? Like it was made by someone famous?
Someone really like you.
Yeah. Remember what I had to do with flipping that inequality. So today when we solve, we're going to keep that in mind. When do we need to flip?
Does anyone remember when do we have to flip that inequality sign? When we have a negative. Specifically, what about a negative? Anytime we have a negative? What? When we have a negative.
It's when we divide or multiply. And we're going to divide or multiply both sides by a negative. Alright, so we're going to do 4 examples. Alright, for example number 1, seriously? No, let's sharpen it. I really like the pencil that you have. It's nice to write with, but it's not exactly so I get really weirded out by it. Alright, number 1. Alright, for number 1, we're going to have 2x plus 4 is greater than 8. Okay, Adrian, phone away. Or I can take it away. Alright, so to solve this, I like to start by drawing my line. I don't like to go through my inequality. You can, it just gets a little messy. So when I have 2x plus 4 is greater than 8. What am I going to undo first to get that x by itself? Should we undo that 2 or undo the 4?
4.
We start with that 4, and it's an adding 4, it's a plus. So how do we undo a plus 4? Minus 4 or negative 4, both sides. So I'm left with 2x. Now, did I do any multiplying or dividing here? Nope, so I don't even need to think about flipping. I'm just going to keep my sign the same. What is 8 minus 4? 4. Okay, now our goal is to get x by itself, so I have to undo that 2. That 2 is right next to the 4. So how do we undo that multiplying by 2? Divide. Now, anytime I see that division, I'm going to ask myself, should I flip my inequality? That's just going off in my head. Bing, bing, bing. Should I flip it? Did we divide both sides by a negative? Boy, we are not talking today. Am I dividing both sides by a negative? No. So do I need to flip it? Nope. So it's just going to stay greater than. Okay, 2 divided by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And 1x is the same thing as just x. I think a lot of you are answering the second question. What's 4 divided by 2? 2. Alright, now we're going to make a quick graph of that. So when we graph these, when there's just an x or just a w or just a y, we use a number. These ones are positive, so I'm going to just go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I like to have 5 tick marks on mine. Now, is this going to be an open or a closed?
Forward and back at your notes if you need to.
Good. Open. It's just a greater than. So I'm going to keep my circle. I want to make sure. And I want numbers greater than 2. So which side are numbers going to be greater than 2?
3 up.
Yep, 3 and up. 3, 4, 5, all of those numbers. Alright, I'm going to do number 2 off to the side here. If you want to go below, that's fine. So what that means in number 1, real quick, sorry. Just get so excited, sometimes I forget to explain them. Is any of these numbers that are above 2, when we put it into that number there, it's going to make a true inequality. So let's take like 5, because a lot of you said 5. I don't know why you said 5, but you said 5. What's 2 times 5? 10. And 10 plus 4? 14. Is 14 greater than 8? Yep. So any number we put that's bigger than 2, anything we put in there, it's going to make that number bigger than 8. All right, number 2, we have negative 5. And then we got that symbol there. 3x plus 10. What do we call that symbol? How would we read this? Good, greater than or equal to. So negative 5 is greater than or equal to 3x. So we're going to go ahead and solve that. Some people get a little freaked out because our x is on the other side. It's going to be okay. It'll be fine. Just breathe. Breathe through it. All right, if our goal is to get x by itself, we have the 3 and the 10 that are on the same side as that x. What should we get rid of first? Adrian's going to put his phone away and stop talking to you on it. Stop talking to Edgar on your phone. You guys can talk during work time. 10. How do we undo 10? Subtract 10. Nishad, do this with us. Focus. Negative 5 minus 10. If I have 5 negatives and I go backwards 10. Negative 15, yeah. Do I need to think about flipping my sign? Did we multiply or divide? So we just keep it the same. Greater than or equal to 3x. X isn't by itself yet, so that's our goal, is to get the x all alone. So we have to undo the x. Divide by 3. Now, when I see that division, that's where in my head I'm going to go think, boop, 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 boop. Do I need to flip my inequality? Are we dividing both sides by a negative? No, remember it's what we divide by. Here we're dividing by a positive. So do I need... Nope. So I'm going to keep that greater than or equal to. And what is negative 15 divided by 3? Negative 5. X there. So again, we're going to make our number line. I like to make 5 tick marks on mine. I'm going to throw negative 5 in the middle. Now with negatives, you have to be really careful. So if you worked ahead, double check your work. What goes to the right of negative 5? Negative 4. Good, we're getting closer to 0. So negative 4 and then negative 3. As I go to the left, we're going to go further into the negatives. So negative 6. Open or a closed boundary? Closed. What told you closed? Yeah, the underline, the equal. Good. Now I want negative 5 to be greater or equal to the numbers I shade in. So I want negative 5 to be bigger than the numbers I shade in. So is negative 5 bigger than negative 6?
No.
Or is negative 5 bigger than negative 4? Negative 6? Yeah, we want negative 5 to be the biggest number. If I keep going this way, are those numbers getting bigger or smaller? Bigger. Over here, it's going to go negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Remember, that's the positives. Is negative 5 bigger than positives? No. So this one, we're actually going to shade to the left. So some of you, depending on your previous math teachers, they might have taught you a little trick about which way to shade based on the inequality. In intermediate algebra, we're really focused in on watching and reading it and seeing which sides make it true. Okay? These are both greater than signs. This one's a greater than or equal to, so it gets shaded in, but see how they go different directions? Okay? So that's because of that x and where the x is located. All right, number 3. 2 more. This one we're going to step it up a notch. If you want to start solving ahead of us, you can. Just make sure you're pausing to check your work. Number 3, we have negative 2 times the quantity of. When we hear that in math, times the quantity of, what does that tell us?
What marker are we going to use next? So what symbol? Times the quantity of parentheses.
The quantity of 4x plus 2 is less than or equal to negative 12. So this one looks a little bit different than the other one. What makes this one different? Parentheses. How do we... Distribute. I think that's what Zach was saying. I can't really hear him. Distribute. We're going to go pew, pew. If you're remembering this from equations, you can go ahead and work ahead. It's very, very similar. We're almost done. All right, so we're going to do negative times, what's the first part? 4x. And then we're going to do negative 2 times, what's the second part? 2. So what's negative 2 times 4? Oh my goodness, Zach is on it today. Negative 8, negative 2 times 2. Negative 4 is less than or equal to negative 12. We didn't do anything to both sides yet, so I know I'm flipping. I only think about the flip when we're multiplying or dividing. Alright, if you don't want to be like snooty like me, you can just draw that line down that inequality. I get a little snooty. Alright, so with that x, we want to undo the negative 8 or the negative 4? Negative 4. How do we undo a negative 4? Plus 4. Good. Do it to one side. Now I have negative 8x is less than or equal to what's negative 12 plus 4?
No, negative 8.
Negative 8. Alright, now we have to get rid of that negative 8 that's with the x. How do we undo that negative 8 that's with the x? Divide by a negative. As soon as I see I'm dividing, I want a little buzzer to go off my head. Beep, 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 beep. Do you need to flip it? Yes. Why? Yeah, we're dividing by a negative, so in this case we need to flip it. So it's going to be x is, what's the new symbol that we're going to use? Great, greater than or equal to. I meant like good, but I said great. 1, positive 1. This says flip, sorry. Got a little messy. Right? And throw a 1 in the middle. What's going to go to the right of a positive 1? Positive 2. To the left. I'm going to start with 0. Negative 1. Yeah. Open or closed? Closed. Good. It has that equal to. And then I want numbers greater than 1. So which side is greater than 1? 2, 3, so on and so forth. So I'm going to... way of doing it is using your scribbles. If you don't like scribbles, that's okay. You don't have to do it. Do the nice clean line ahead. We've been doing. Alright, last one, and then you have the rest of the time to work. Doing a little line there because I got a little wide in my work. Alright, last one, number 4. N minus 5 is greater than 9 plus 3n. N minus 5 is greater than 9 plus 3n. What's different about this one compared to the other ones? Yeah, there's 2 different terms with n's, and then there's some constants. This one also has n's. The other ones all had x's. I don't know why we thought n's on this one, but we did. So, are they on the same side, or are they on different sides? So because they're on different sides, we have to get rid of one of them. And we need to decide which one do we want to get rid of, and it doesn't matter. It's up to you. Should we undo this n, or should we undo this 3n? The n? Okay. 5. Yeah, you could do the 5 first. I like to do my n's first. Is that okay? So how would I get rid of this positive n? It's a 1n. If I want to sneak that 1 in there, I can. How do I undo a positive 1? Negative 1. If I do it on one side, do it on the other. On this side, should I do it with the 9 or with the 3n? With the 3. I didn't multiply or divide, so I keep that greater than sign. 9 plus, what's 3 minus 1? 2. Okay, now my goal is to get n by itself. So should we undo the 9 or undo the 2? Yeah, who's the best friend of the n? Who's that coefficient? The 2. So we're going to keep the coefficient, that multiplying. We're going to undo adding first. So to undo adding 9, we're going to subtract 9. Now if we do it on one side, do it to the other. Negative 5 minus 9. Negative 5. Yep, negative 14 is greater than, 9's are gone, we're left with just 2n. Now I have to undo that 2. It's touching, so how do we undo that multiplying by 2? Divide. And if we divide one side, okay, as soon as I see that dividing in my head, I'm thinking, boop, boop, boop. Do I need to flip? No? Okay. Depending on how you solve this, if your first step, if you worked ahead of us, if your first step was to get that 3n to the other side, and you had negative 2n minus 5 is greater than 9, you would flip. So it's really interesting on the how you solve that flipping, and you might have had a yes. We're going to have a no. Alright, what's negative 14 divided by 2? negative 7 is greater than n. Now, some people don't like it when the n is on the right side. So if I want to flip it around, I can move this n to the left side and the negative 7 to the right side. But what symbol would I want to? Yeah, less than, because in this problem, which one's bigger, the negative 7 or the n? Negative 7 is bigger, so I want to make sure that negative 7 stays bigger, which means n has to be smaller. It's like we have to read it from right to left if we're going to flip it. Throw in a quick number line. As I go to the right, I have to go towards 0. As I go to the left, I'm going to go more negative. Do you guys want to start at negative 7 and go right or go left? Which way does your brain tell you to do? Go left or go right? You go right. Zach goes left. Oh my goodness. Okay, right of negative 7 would be negative 6. And then to the right of negative 6, negative 5. Then if I start at negative 7 and I count backwards, what's one jump back after negative 8? And then open or closed? What told me open? Because we had a negative? Because it's an n? There's no underline. Good. There's no equal to, so it's not shaded in. And which way is going to be numbers less than negative 7? Which numbers are smaller? Yeah, left. We want to go more negative for those smaller numbers.